Another day, another dollar. We got Bitcoin trading about 116,500. MSTR trading at 440.7 in after hours. I want to give you my thoughts on today's price action. First, before we even look at charts, I just want to say that nothing goes up in a straight line, guys. Like when you have big moves up, it's not necessarily a bad thing to see some pullbacks as long as the pullbacks don't extend further than the move up did, right? We don't want a trend change. But when you do that, it resets the momentum oscillators. It allows us to go higher in the future, okay? So I don't expect to see, straight vertical lines until we get to the end of the run, right? And towards the end of the run, you'll start to see these types of moves where, or at least they'll be possible, where MSTR appreciated. Like these are 3 weekly bars. We saw MSTR literally go up 150% in 3 weekly bars. The fact that we're not seeing that now is probably a good thing because I think MSTR has the potential to go north of $2,000 in this run. But if we saw those types of moves already, it'd be like, maybe I need to rethink things because we'd be around $1,000 in that case, right? If it happened now. Anyways, let me give you my thoughts on MSTR. First, I'm gonna connect the 2024 November top to the, basically create this downtrend line connected to the top of this candle wick. And what do you know? We've talked about this recently. 2 weeks ago, we got the break above on the linear chart. I actually like MSTR's log chart more for the breakouts. Either way, the linear chart lines up nicely here. You got the break above. Last week, we got the back test and then a nice follow through. Okay, if we measure from the back test to the height of yesterday's move, MSTR appreciated 16.2% in basically a week. I know it's 2 weekly bars, but yesterday was Monday, so let's call it 1 week basically. That's really strong. I think that's a big sign of things to come, and I think it wants to go much higher. In this video, I want to talk just about recent price action. So why did MSTR top out at 457? Well, I think I have the reason. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Check this out. I'm going to apply a Fibonacci retracement to the March 2024 top, and I'm going to extend it down to the bottom that occurred after that. When you do this, and I might have done a bad job aligning that. When you do this though, check it out. The 3.618 fib is right up here around, 460. And we came up short of it, although it really depends on how exact you want to draw the Fibonacci retracement, because I have this on weekly. If you switch it to daily, it might have been an exact touch. Either way, I think that's why we ultimately did not continue higher this week. And now I want to look at MSTR through a different lens. This is my red chart. I like to look at these things in as many different ways as possible to challenge my own beliefs and also just to not be surprised by price action. So these are my red charts, guys. Notice I didn't draw the red channel, so I'm going to do that really quickly so you can see how I do this. Let's go off of the bottom of this candle. And this is why I kept saying when we were trying to guess when MSTR's bottom was in, that it needs to be in sooner than later so that this red channel of expansion that's going to contain MSTR's price action in the near future, at least, is steeper. The steeper it is, the higher MSTR is going to go. Currently, I think it's safe to say that one day we had the other day where it was trading at I think it was only 4 weeks ago, but MSTR on a Monday traded as low as $358 a share. If we turn up from there, guys, then this is our angle of expansion for this parallel channel, which is steeper than this green one that you saw me working with. And it supports MSTR going as high as $1,000 a share in the first trading day of September. So keep that in mind for perspective. $1,000 a share, September, is supported. It's not at all a stretch. You saw how I got there. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. It's all good. Open discourse. Let's be friendly. Anyways, I also want to show where I think, kind of where we're at with MSTR. I think it's best illustrated again using a Fibonacci retrace, except this time I'm targeting the November 2024 top. I'm bringing it down to the low that occurred after that. And now it's like, wait, we're just kind of floating in between two fib levels. We have the 0.618 behind or below us at about 424 or 425. Okay. And then above us, you've got the 0.786 at about 476. And we're just lingering in the middle. Now, let me tell you what my bias is. You guys can probably guess. I'm biased to the upside. It doesn't mean that I can time it and say that, hey, this week we'll see a trade as high as 476. Okay, but I do think it's possible. I mean, you see that if we got to 476 this week, though, and you're gambling on short-dated, short expiration options, 476 should be written down on your end as a place to potentially take some profits. I think that's probably about as high as we're going to go this week should we, resume the uptrend, okay? To the downside, again, 424. Here's the thing. We're going to look at the Bitcoin chart now. If MSTR only traded as low as like 440 today, or how low did it really go? It went down, yeah, 440. With the day that Bitcoin had, I really don't know if it's realistic to think that MSTR is going to go as low as 424 to this 0.618 Fibonacci. Let's go to the Bitcoin chart. This is supposed to be my green Bitcoin chart. So again, let me just show you how I do it. I'm going to pull up the parallel channel. I'm going to connect the 2017 top. I'm going to draw this line through the 2021 double tops, connect it to the bottom. I'm going to switch it from red to green because it's supposed to be green. Now, I actually just kind of violated my rule for the green chart because I like to make it contain all the price action, but it actually doesn't, right? Because we're currently trading above it, right? Last week we had the breakout bar, beautiful bar last week. And now it looks like we're basically back testing it. Perhaps I messed up how I drew that channel because I think it could be probably angled upwards just a little bit there. Okay, there we go. I think that's more accurate. And this looks today to be a clean back test of the parallel channel that we just broke out of that contained Bitcoin's price action since 2017. So 8 years of significance. The breakout, I'm going to say the same word again, is very significant. The fact that we back tested it now, I think, is a good thing. Otherwise, imagine if we just went straight up. Imagine if we never back tested. Ready? This week we go up. Let's just say we go to 123. That was this week. Next week, again, let's pretend no back test. Next week, we go from 123 to 128. The week after that, let's say it starts to lose steam, the bars start to get shorter, and we're up to 130. Can anybody guess what probably happens week 4? Yeah, week 4, we're going to go from 130, crash down to 116. Instead, guess what we did today? We got the backtest out of the way today already. Okay, the momentum oscillators are resetting already. Now, I am human. I do not know what the future holds. Currently, nothing worries me. And I'll even tell you why I think we stopped out at 123. Let me zoom out really quickly. And I'm just going to draw one trend line from 2017. You see this in April of 2021. We kind of had an overshoot of the channel. So I'm going to connect 2017's top through that wick. And if I extend it out, look at this. You get basically where it stopped. Although I will say that I've redrawn this line many times and I still believe that we wicked above and price action went higher than it should have been allowed to go, ultimately at like 123,250. So that makes me very confident that this overhead resistance is not that significant. I mean, it's significant enough, right? That it's basically containing price action, but even that we wicked above it, I've redrawn this line enough times to really firmly believe that that should not have happened. Anyways, this back test, perfectly healthy to me. So that being said, if we go back to MSTR and put it in context, like add some context, Bitcoin having its logical contained backtest only dropped MSTR to 441. When I saw Bitcoin's price this morning, I was like, uh-oh, what's MSTR going to be at? And I looked and it was like 442 or something. Like it basically just matched yesterday's low. It did, you know what I mean? Like yesterday's low was 441. Do you guys remember that? Hopefully I'm not saying the wrong thing, but I swear it was, yeah. It's just matching yesterday's low. So I don't know. I mean, MSTR is showing some strength, guys. Read the tea leaves here. Anyways, I don't think MSTR, that was a long way of saying, I don't think MSTR is going down to the 424, 0.618 fib. I think it's going to 477. As soon as this week, if it did it this week, I would sell any high risk MSTR options positions. Or if you're in like MSTU, because I know some of you guys, the degens, might be in call options on MSTU. Well, if MSTR trades at 477, I am not giving financial advice, but I personally would be selling my MSTU short-dated call options in that case. And if you were trying to gamble, if you fancied yourself a gambler, I mean, I don't know exactly how it translates into MSTU because I don't trade that product. But yeah, I mean, that's something if you had the itch, the degen tingles, as some of my card-playing friends would call it, then you might want to, that might be a trade for you. But again, not financial advice or anything like that. All right, Bitcoin, we looked at the linear chart. Log chart really quickly, guys. Log chart actually went down below the breakout level. Now, how concerned should we be of that? And by the way, just for, I like to zoom out and just say, guys, like the reason that I'm doing these videos and speaking so confidently about this trade, number one, I've been basically studying this setup for like 5 years. Number two, though, it's that we have like a correlated asset to Bitcoin. So we have almost like double confirmation. I can look at the MSTR chart, use it to confirm my biases for Bitcoin and vice versa. But also we have previous breakouts. Like, I mean, Bitcoin's a relatively new, I don't want to call it a financial product and offend anybody, but through this lens, I'm just saying it's been around since, let's just say 15 years. And let's look at the data of the previous breakout, because some of these other breakouts really like it was a 2017 breakout. After that, it was like 2013 had 2 breakouts. So in terms of the breakouts, we don't have that much data, but let's go back to the most recent breakout, 2020. Look at the bars really quickly. Just try to remember this. I'm doing this for you because I'm doing all this research for myself anyways, right? And then I share it, some of it with YouTube and then all of it with my private community here, just saying, linked in the description. But we had the bar that broke through with force. That was the equivalent of last week's bar. Now we're living in real time this bar. Now look at that bar. It was ultimately a red bar where Bitcoin traded in a range from top to bottom of 20%. Bitcoin's price fluctuated 20% in that weekly bar, right on the breakout level. Ultimately, it traded beneath it, but obviously the weekly bar snapped back up and closed above it. Okay, actually it was a lower high. It traded at a higher high, but like the close was lower than the week before. Anyways, it was a higher low. The week after that was a higher low. The week after that put in a lower low. And if you didn't have these breakout levels defined on your Bitcoin log scale chart, which again, I still don't see many people doing that as crypto influencers and whatnot. So if there's a reason to come back to this channel for more, I mean, it might just be that. Who else is charting Bitcoin's log chart like this? Because I think this tells the real story here and allows me to be so confident. But look, we got a lower low, which would have freaked out a lot of people, except it was a backtest of the breakout level. It was the generational wealth entry right there on that wick. Because if you really wanted to go long with options in size, that's when you did it. And within just a few weeks, you would have been rewarded. Now, that wasn't even the top of the run, but you would have saw in 4 weeks, Bitcoin run 140%. And, I mean, the writing was on the table there if you knew what to look for. So if we go back up to where we are now, again, we're in that second weekly bar. Bitcoin has not fluctuated 20%, which would drive me crazy personally. It's only fluctuated 6.2%, thank God. Although it's only Tuesday, so I don't know what to expect in the future, but hopefully if it goes 20%, it goes to the upside, right? Anyways, it's okay that it traded below. We want the weekly close to be above the breakout level. So above, I would say, 116,900. That's the main thing. That is your top thing on your wish list if you're bullish like I am. You want Bitcoin to close above 116,900 this week. That is ranked number 1 in terms of the priority list. After that, it's like, actually, why not just close above 120,000, right? And get MSTR up to that 476? How am I forgetting already? I might have a little bit of the COVID right now, honestly. So forgive me. I'm actually re-recording this video just to bring my energy levels up. It feels crazy to still be talking about COVID in 2025, but it's got like the upswings and the downswings. Yeah, 476 was the level. Okay. So anyways, yeah, in terms of the priority, there's a couple things. All right. As I wrap this video, guys, I also just want to show you Mara. All right. Mara. I know this was trendy yesterday where it was trading above $21. It sucked a bunch of people in and then it dumped on them. Careful trading on the euphoria at Monday mornings, guys. The algorithms love to pivot the Monday morning opens, whether it's like a gap up and then dumps or a gap down and then it appreciates. Remember when MSTR was trading only 4 weeks ago at like 358 a share? That was on a Monday. And then what happened? That week ended up closing massively green. So I'm just saying, I'm always skeptical of Mondays, guys. If we zoom out on Mara, log scale chart, I was buying honestly pretty early. So I'm sitting really pretty on some Mara positions, shares, and long dated calls. Not to brag, but like I still think Mara has a long way to go. Best illustrated here by the linear chart. Okay. So linear chart on Mara to me says that Mara should go at least, and this is not financial advice, to $54 a share in the next like month or two. I mean, I would say like probably in the next month, but not financial advice or anything like that. That sounds ridiculous to say too, that it's going to like more than double. But again, it's because I think there's going to be a lot of strength in Bitcoin. This is a derivative in Bitcoin, but Mara and the miners, I liken them to like biotech stocks. If you've ever seen how biotech stocks trade, like this is NVAX. This is how I think Mara and Riot kind of trade, right? Anyways, so I think it's going at least to like 52 minimum, right? And above there, I think it can trade, on the overshoot up to like 80 and then as high as like 130. Okay, so that's why I'm very bullish. The options chain only goes out to like $50 a share. I mean, they may have added some new ones recently, and it depends on what strike you look at. But I think Mara had a really good opportunity for, I mean, it still has a really good opportunity if you ask me, for an entry right around this level. And just a quick plug for my MSTR Generational Wealth community, even though this is not MSTR, it's Mara, but they are pretty, you know, it's like a nice way of hedging your exposures if you wanted to add some Mara to your portfolio. I wanted to say that I did a trading alert here, and then also in today's video update, which I posted this morning. So you can find a link to that in the description. Guys, thank you for watching. If you're irresponsibly long MSTR like I am, how much would it be worth to you to have somebody who's in the charts daily looking for the perfect entry for shares and options, and eventually looking to see if we might have topped and it's time to take profits? If this is something that interests you, I want to invite you to check out my MSTR Generational Wealth community linked below.